Grand Rising. I'm going to start off um, reading from The Rainbow in the Cloud, The Wisdom and Spirit of Maya Angelou. And I'm just going to randomly, open the book and see where it takes us, okay? And then I'm going to go from there. I'm going to travel from there. I'm going to flow from there, right? Okay. All right. So it takes me to page 4 and 5. I'm going to read from page 4 and 5 of the book. Now, 4, that is about foundation, okay? Protection, family, the home. The 5 is about change. The 5 is about communication. The 5 is about travel, okay? Mercury energy. Archangel Raphael. So healing. And also, like I said, travel, so transportation from one place to the next. And then that's a 9. So creation, ending of cycles, completion. So let's see what it says. A child's talent to endure stems from her ignorance of alternatives. Everything of value takes work, particularly relationships. Ashe to that. If a mother and daughter don't understand each other, oh wow, and father don't have sympathy for each other's lack of understanding, then the task, T-A-S-K, which means the work, okay, the focus, the challenge, is to build a bridge across the chasm of misunderstanding. Wow, that is very, build a bridge across. So that's that traveling energy as well. To connect, that's the connection from one point to another. Wow. Home, wow, is the nest where children are raised and the place where they are the most important inhabitants. In homes in which this is not true, the parents are not making the sacrifices which are necessary. I'm going to read that again. Home is the nest where children are raised and the place where they are the most important inhabitants. In homes in which this is not true, the parents are not making the sacrifices which are necessary. That is, wow, mind-blowing, right? I believe, this is page 5, I believe that one can never leave home. I believe that one carries the shadows, the dreams, the fears, and dragons of home under one's skin, at the extreme corners of one's eyes, and possibly in the gristle of the earlobe. I love my son, and I loved him when he was growing up. But I was not in love with him, which means that I did not dote and I was willing to make the hard decisions. One should never let the love of one's child prevent or hinder the vital and necessary work of parenting. Wow. Wow, this is really hitting. If our children are to approve of themselves, they must see that we approve of ourselves. Wow. Independence is a heady draft. And if you drink it in your youth, it can have the same effect on the brain as young wine. Mm, that's something to most definitely think about right there, that last sentence. Independence is a heady draft. And if you drink it in your youth, it can have the same effect on the brain as young wine. Mm, mm, mm. Now, if this didn't resonate, I don't know. This is most definitely something to go in deep about. Mm. A lot of things come to me with that last sentence. This whole thing. Mm. This independence is also taking me to the destruction of our children being adults at the age of 18. Okay. And parents also, because they think, they can just put their children out, out on the streets. You see what I'm saying? Um, and you hear what she say about the home, right? The home is the nest where children are raised and the place where they are the most important inhabitants. The most important inhabitants. When you miss the mark of making them the priority of it all, then you have missed the mark. And you're not making the sacrifices which are necessary. And they got this ideology now, these children, that they can do it on their own. They don't need their elders. They don't need their mother and their fathers. And they know more than them. They no longer need direction. And a lot of parents have drilled that into their children as well. So the importance of community, the importance of the family and the home has been lost. But I'm gonna stop there because I can go, and that was on point with there. Now see, today is a five of clubs energy. Okay, now this is the change of mind and plans. Okay, that's just the basic meaning of the five of clubs. The clubs is dealing with the mental and speaking communication. Okay, uh, Wednesday is, you know, um, vibrates the frequency of Mercury, the planet Mercury. Dealing with the number five, dealing with change, communication, dealing with transportation, dealing with healing. Okay, I'm going to read from the book, The Five of Clubs. Okay, the change of mind and plans is the basic meaning of the Five of Clubs. However, any five can mean change in residence or travel opportunities. Five of clubs can also mean a restlessness that brings up a desire to explore new realms, at least on the mental level. Whenever this card appears, It may be a signal for a change in your life. You will likely feel a dissatisfaction with things as they are and want to progress into new areas. Be open to new plans, new ideas, new places to go, etc. The only negative side of this card is an unwillingness to commit oneself to any particular belief or philosophy. Now, in the Mercury period, during this period, okay, or during this energy, a sudden change, because Mercury is very fast witted, right? A sudden change of mind brought about by a short trip or some unexpected news is likely. You may take many short trips or make an unexpected journey or move, possibly due to your own impatience. Don't let restlessness drive you crazy. It may just be that some change is overdue and will bring about many improvements in your present situation. Advice from friends may be helpful now. Wise friends, that is, okay? Wise. Okay. I'm going to pull cardiology. Let's see. Ooh, at the bottom of the deck. Oh, my goodness gracious. At the bottom of the deck is the Queen of Hearts, which is the Queen of Cups in Tarot. The Queen of Hearts is the mother, okay? The Queen of Hearts is the devoted mother, the matriarch, okay? That divine feminine energy. This is this is that, wow, yeah. This is, okay. Where you going? Where you going? Where you going? I'm gonna take the Queen of Hearts. Mhm. I'm gonna take that Queen of Hearts. I see the Six of Diamonds. Settling debts, settling all karmic debts, the settling of accounts. So I'm going to take this Queen of Hearts. We're going to take her because that's just on point, okay? When it's on point, it's on point. So at the bottom of the deck is so behind her is the Two of Hearts, which is the Two of Cups. Wow. So the Queen of Hearts in the Mercury frequency, this is social charm is indicated by this card, and you might be using it to help friends or relatives right now. Parties and social gatherings are favored by this influence as well as communications with family members. Use this influence to clear up unresolved miscommunication. And I was just thinking that there is some communication. This is giving me some communications need to be had with the mothers, to and from the mothers. So use this influence to clear up unresolved miscommunications. Marriages during this period are likely to have good communication, but they may not last very long overall. This should be an enjoyable romantic time. Wow. So the Queen of Hearts. We got the Queen of Hearts up here. Pick a shadow card. One shadow card. One shadow card. 888. Ooh. I saw beauty spells. What do you want us to know? My spirit guides of the highest order. What do you want to communicate to me, through me, to the families out here? Wow. So a pile came out. It was on top. Two piles actually came out. Less is more. Less is more. Set healthy and strong boundaries. 333 came out, and at the bottom of the deck is 33. So this is 33333. Okay. So threes. That's creativity. That's the energy of creativity. That's the energy of abundance. That's the energy of mother. That's also Empress in the number 3 is the Empress in the Tarot. In 333, that is a completion. Okay. Taking our power back, taking our magic back, and also work with fire element, betrayer, betrayer. And so that'll take me to the next pile, dirty mirror, distorted reflection, confusion, spells, twisted image. So speaking, word witchery against the mother, having distorted reflection, creating distorted reflections of the mother, Queen of Hearts here, confusion spells, okay, with the mother and her children, twisted images of the mother. This Queen of Hearts is devoted mother here. We're talking about divine feminine here. Okay. When you deal with mirrors, you deal with reflections, reflecting, mirroring. So there's someone, people, families, whoever, outsiders, wanted to disconnect you from your devoted mother. That 2 of Cups, that 2 of Hearts, that sacred union that you're supposed to have. They wanted to collapse the bridge. Or you wanted to collapse the bridge. Or a mother. This could be a mother that has done this to their daughters. This could be children that has done this to their mothers. This is society that has done this to mothers. Masculines that has done this to mothers. This corporate, corrupt corporation that has done this to the mothers. We know what they did. Okay, when it came to the mother, okay, they turned everything patriarch when everything is matriarch. So they subdued the mother. They abused the mother. They distorted the mother, created these twisted images of the mother, your mother. the great mother, Mother Nature. Imbalanced hormones is behind that. Okay? Hoodoo is behind that. Sistrum is behind that. Santanister Masonic Group, the number 9. That's mother energy, creation. Okay? Also a completion of a cycle. Herbal washes, crossed up candle that goes with that dirty mirror. Okay? Crossed up. That's like confusion, daddy issues. Okay. A lot of women have daddy issues that need to be healed. Fight and flight. Yeah. We've been in that energy for a very long time, trying to defend and protect a family that just betrayed us. We had that betrayer energy in the last pile, remember? But then we have Sun here, healing and enlightenment. Okay? Us as Sun people and also as Sun women. Matter of fact, that's interesting because I'm going to play a part of a video. It's titled A Message to the Sun Women. Okay? Now they took this off YouTube. Okay, very vital messages that it was several parts of this, but someone captured, a part, and I'm going to play it. One is 10 minutes, and one little over 10 minutes, and one is a little over 4 minutes. One is a 444. Okay, so we have the sun energy, healing and enlightenment. This is also giving me Mason, Ma and Sun energy. Okay. How they turned our sons against us. Yes, the masculine. That's what we're talking about. Yes, yes, indeed. Okay. Turned you against your God. And mind fucked you to have this dirty, distorted reflection of your damn mother. Okay. Now, we do have some mothers out here that are very karmic mothers, what they would say. Toxic mothers, yes, we do. But we're talking about the devoted mother. Okay. And then we got here voodoo practitioner. So this is conjure work. Okay. That was being done. And also these are spiritual practices that came from our ancestors. Hoodoo, voodoo, yeah, that they turned against us. Crossed up. Everything is inverted. Everything is not what it is. Okay, they say something is masculine when it's feminine. They say God is a man or God is a woman. Okay, you have everything, everything is upside down, topsy-turvy. Okay, dirty mirror. Okay, everything is distorted. Okay, everything is to create confusion. Everything is a twisted image. You have a lot of these people that look like women, and they're not women. Okay, we can go imbalanced hormones. We can go on and on and on, right? So wow. So there you have it. And then we got 3-3. I see 4-4-4. And then I see start respecting your own privacy. talked about that, right? Invest in your stability and security. Mm-hmm. 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 We also, with this imbalanced hormones I'm looking at with the Queen of Hearts, yeah, we have a lot of energies that wanted to have they they want to be the feminine. They want to be the Queen of Hearts. They want to be the mother, and they can't. They can only give a distorted, twisted image of it, which means dressing up like one, you know, going through certain, taking certain hormone, what they call it, hormone substances or whatever, to try to be like the mother, which is just twist. It creates confusion. Um, you know, um, it's distorted. It's a distorted reflection of the mother because it's not. It's an illusion. Okay, we have to deal with what's real, the reality of things, what's fact. Okay, what is pure, what is natural, what is balanced. Okay, yeah. So it just is what it is. Okay, it just is what it is. That's what it is. Um, let's pull a card from here. Oh, the devil is in the details, and the details exposes the devil. Who the mother is. Who the mother. I'm gonna take that because it's just who the mother is. Who the mother truly is. Mm-hmm. Wow, look. So we got angelic protection at the bottom of the deck. Okay. So Father came out. 888 came out. Mas- Masculine came out in return of power. This is to you patriarchs. This is to you masculines. The mother will be back on her throne. Okay? And it ain't nothing you can do about it. This is a return of power. The return of the matriarchs. Because that is the balance. It is inevitable. It just is just what it is. And this is like I said, this is the trump right here. You all kinds of dysfunctional when you don't have the matriarch. You masculines. We got masculine energy out here twice with father and masculine. Okay, they turned everything into a patriarchal system, abusing the woman, abusing the mother, abusing the matriarch. Wow, ancestors just come through. Shade. I give honors and thanks for speaking to me and through me. I'm open to you. I'm devoted to my ancestors and spirit guides of the highest order and from all timelines, quantiums, realms, and dimensions. Ashe. So this is a return of power to you ones and this is to the men, what I just said about the imbalanced hormones, to the men that are men that have distorted, that have participated in the twisted image of the mother. You men that want to be women and you're not. We are protected. We have that ancestral, and behind angelic protection is Shungai. That's miracle. That's a miracle mineral right there. That is an ancient mineral. That is about protection. Okay, that is carbon right there. Purification, transformation. So us mothers that have purified our waters, okay, because we're talking about cups energy, water energy, emotions, intuition, family, home, love, nurturing, has purified our waters from all these toxins and has transformed, okay? Triple goddess energy, which is dealing with the transformation. Angelic protection and ancestral protection here. When I went out the other day, sweet, sweet justice is behind that. Ma'adik, Ma'at, okay? Ma'at is here. We're not dealing with you sick psychopaths anymore. No, 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 no. And then I see mother at the Isis. This is dealing with healing. This is dealing with magic. This is dealing with motherhood, fertility, rebirth. Okay? This is the great mother. They turned Isis into Jesus. This isn't coming out for nothing. This is not coming out. And they did this repeatedly also with this 888. A toxic loop. Cycle after cycle after cycle after cycle. Generation after generation after generation after generation. It is over. It's a return of power. The nines are here to also prove that it is over. It's a return of power. It is a return of power. Take a herbal card. Gotta take a herbal card. Angelic, I see. What you want us to do? No. What you want to communicate to us, Archangel Raphael? What do you want to communicate to us? Okay? So, oh, shit. Thank you, Archangel Raphael. And we know that, what they did to our archangels. They turned a lot of them masculine. They turned them masculine. Okay? We know. The devil is in the details, and the details expose the devil. Your asses has been exposed, okay? So we have reishi mushroom, cancer disorders and tumors, and preventative, okay? High blood pressure. It builds immunity, and it's for viral infections. This is giving me cleansing, purification, these parasites. Cleaning them out. Then we got Don Quay out here. Regulates hormone replacement, estrogen hormone balance. Okay? We balancing shit back the fuck out. Okay? Expelling those parasites. Okay? Going through a cleansing and purification, transformation to balance things back out. Okay? This is the cups energy as well, heart's energy as well. The cups is dealing with emotions. Okay? The hormones. Right? Ashe. That is on point. That is on point. And this is a 23 We on the 5, we on the 3. Okay? That 3 energy. That's Empress energy. That's the mother energy as well. Wake up. It is done. It is done. It is done. I'm going to read from How White Folks Got So Rich, the Untold Story of American White Supremacy. Page 15. Got the 1 and the 5 there. 15, which is a 6. So, slavery, the most profitable business of all time. Everything in the Western world, its cities, institutions, and wealth is built on the profits of black slavery. Paris, Rome, London, New York, name the place. In its riches are the spoils of the greatest criminal endeavor in the history of the universe. You hear that? Criminal endeavor. Okay? Well, they wanted to make the people the criminals. Okay? Another distortion, another inversion. Okay? They made themselves the creditors and made the people the debtors. So they became the creditors. Well, they made themselves the creditors and they made the people the debtors. Whereas the people, that is the creditors, and they are the debtors. That debtor card came out in the last reading. And they are indebted to the people, and especially the carbon people, Shungite, the sun people, the copper tone people. If all the books ever written were dedicated solely to this subject, they could only begin to elaborate on that shameful fact. According to leading sociologists, Joseph R. Fegan, the sum total of the worth of all the black labor stolen by whites through the means of legal slavery, legal segregation, and contemporary racial discrimination is truly staggering, perhaps in the range of 5 to 24 trillion. Blacks were believed to be so essential to white advancement that whites built thousands of ships over hundreds of years, sailed thousands of miles over treacherous oceans, instigated brutal African wars, captured and imprisoned the African people, brought them back thousands of miles to the Americas, exploited their labor, and sold them on the open market, enslaving them forever. Now, we know that's a lie too. Okay? We were already here in America, and they enslaved us on our own land, traveled commerce 5 Mercury. Okay? They was traveling with us around the Americas, trading and enslaving us. Okay, let's get that. That's another lie. These Africans were by no means savages, as has been advanced by historians seeking to justify the atrocity. A close reading of the newspaper advertisement placed by American slave traders reveals that blacks were skilled artisans and craftsmen at the highest level. It is easy to find slave sale ads selling engineers, carpenters, cowboys, shipbuilders, mechanics, stonemasons, nurses, blacksmiths, seamstresses, weavers, shoemakers, and bakers. Then I have a picture here, U.S. presidents in the black African state enslaved. So they got George Washington. He had 350 slaves. Andrew Jackson 200. Thomas Jefferson 200. James Madison 106. John Taylor 75. James K. Polk 25. Zachary Taylor 150. Ulysses S. Grant 5. James Monroe 75. Martin Van Buren 1. William H. Harrison 11. Andrew Johnson 8. Black slave laborers built America's infrastructure, including its buildings, roads, bridges, and railroads. Black slaves built the president's house in the Capitol in Washington, D.C. Black slaves built the mansions that grace southern plantations. Blacks built America, just as they built the pyramids in Egypt, and then gave civilization to the Europeans. Whatever might be credited to white labor was nothingness finance by profits from the cotton, sugar, and tobacco crops, all made possible by African slave labor. But let us just take the most celebrated American, George Washington. At one point in his ignominious life, he held as many as 350 black Africans, 92 of them children. The high ratio of children to adults indicates Washington was a slave breeder, a major industry in his home state of Virginia. What could one do today with that many lifelong unpaid employees? A sardonic Ralph Wiley wrote, "Give me the free labor of one black person for 1 year. I would be a rich man. Give me the free labor of a dozen black people for 1 year. I would be a very rich man. Give me a free labor of millions of black people for 250 years. I would be America." You hear that? Sugar to cotton to oil. Whites gotta have it. For 134 years between 1803 and 1937, cotton was America's largest export, and this slave-grown staple was the single biggest driver of European expansion. Cotton was at the very foundation of the American economy, and it turbo-fueled industry growth worldwide. Indeed, cotton was to the world economy in its era what oil is to the present. Western civilization was built on the sweat, blood, and tears of black American men, women, and children who planted, cultivated, and picked the valuable crop and then wrapped it into 200 to 500 pound um, bales. The race-based culture cotton created is at the very root of the uh, multiplicity of miseries affecting black people to this very day. Without cotton, slavery in the New World was very likely headed for extinction. Sugar had driven European expansion and the slave trade into the sugar growing regions of South America and the Caribbean. But by the late 18th century, slave revolts and a waning market threatened to crash that economy. The invention of the cotton gin in 1793, a machine that effectively separates the seeds from the fiber, sped up cotton production 50-fold, instantly making it much more profitable and desirable. The miraculous fiber could be transformed into almost any type of cloth or garment or dyed in any pattern. It could be made into rope, curtains, upholstery, and clothing, woven densely for warmth or loosely for hotter, hotter climes, and it could even be made to mimic fine silks at a fraction of the cost. The whole world clamored to be reclothed in cotton, and that is escalating demand put the black man and woman on the auction block in increasing numbers, just as demand for sugar did generations before. One cannot overstate the value of cotton to white world prosperity and correspondingly, cotton's direct connection to the destruction of black civilization. By 1840, cotton exports were greater than all other exports combined, and America's 75,000 cotton plantations generated three-fourths of the world's cotton supply. At least 6 of every 10 Africans worked directly in cotton productions. The others were largely engaged in growing food and building houses for use by the cotton cultivating slaves, constructing roads, bridges, and ports for cotton shipping and transport, and tending the homes and families of cotton masters, cotton traders, and cotton businessmen. Moreover, enslaved Africans represented two-thirds of the plantation family's total wealth, with half of the remainder in the land they worked. A plantation family depended on the very labor of the blacks it enslaved for its total income, protection, and survival. A British economist calculated, should any dire calamity befall the land of cotton, 1,000 of our merchant ships would rot idly in dock. 10,000 mills must stop their busy looms. 2,000,000 mouths would starve for lack of food to feed them. France was said to be even more dependent on American cotton than Britain. The mega wealth of the Rothschild banking family was derived from cotton. The Lehman Brothers and their investment banking house began as cotton traders in Alabama. Cotton was the motive for the development of a vast and expanding international web of finance, politics, transportation, and communications, a global network that relied entirely on the forced enslavement of a whole race of people. And industrialization spread after slavery. Petroleum oil rose in its value in world enterprise, and the geopolitical focus shifted to the North African Middle East, where today it remains the preeminent commodity, bringing with it the suffering, misery, and havoc long endured by the peoples of America and Africa, and how inflicted upon the indigenous people unlikely enough to live on top of the black gold. The arts of barbarity proved upon the slave captains are so extravagant that they have been attributed to insanity. It was a war waged by white men for 2 centuries against human nature. Charles W. Eliot, 1857. Okay, and I'm going to stop there. So going into this video, a message to the Sun Women, Part 1, Episode 8, Volume 1, The Return of the Matriarch. It's 10 minutes, a little over 10 minutes long, okay? This is a repost, okay? And it originally came from the YouTube channel Ancient Egypt Actual Facts, okay? Which they took this series of videos off. And I think at one time they put them back on YouTube, and apparently they took them off again. Okay, so here's a little bit of that. A message to the Sun Women, the return of the matriarch.
You are three-dimensional beings ready to experience the fourth you, or the etheric you. 9 to the 9th power of 9, or 999, overpowers calculations in math. Know your third eye, or the pineal gland in the center of your brain. Between the two halves is your gateway. Once you learn how to activate it, it produces your melatonin. My children, Nuwapians, I, Yanun, in this is my gospel, am not writing for you a new doctrine, yet an old one, the same as I taught you from 1970 AD, which some of you had since the beginning of beginnings. This old doctrine is the secret message you have heard. Yet I am again writing it as a new message, for it is time, and the time has come. Its truth can be seen in you with Yanunism, Wunawap. Because ignorance is passing, and the truth is already here with you right now. Any one of you who claim to be Nuwapians, yet hates his fellow Nuwapian, is still ignorant, and is in much need of Ashuk, divine love, or love divine. And what is the message of this gospel of Yanun? That the world is transforming back to its original state. That being of a matriarchal world. From these patriarchal systems and worlds. That from male dominance back to female dominance. For you see, Nuwapians, when you understand binary symbol, you will note mental is 0 and physical is 1, as used as the cell or atom of the computers. That being said, male equals 0 and female equals 1. 0 is 1 who always wants to analyze, he is so analytical. 1 is one who sees things as they are. She is accepting of things as they are. So the males see natural nature, and it sets out to paint or draw on the canvas or paper, to take things apart, to see how they work. This is the male mind. And female looks at natural nature and accepts its natural beauty as is. Man sees the sharp instrument and it becomes a weapon. Woman sees the sharp instrument and she uses it to prepare a meal. So to transform this world out of the hands of the male mind and back into the world of the female mind, we activated the idea of the computer, which males will call a new great invention of his, when in fact it was us who activated the idea for you to see and use the computer, the images, to develop your ideas. You don't or no longer have to destroy to build. It deals with image. So with that, the right side of the brain, which is of the female, is being developed. Women, after its birth, are taken over the world. Man used it to do what with it? Your ideas are to make atomic bombs, to force open a vortex, to disrupt the fabric of time and space and material. So we advanced it and its technology to bring it into the home and then into the hands of females. For males had most women in the home as a housewife. Now from the home with the computer, she becomes a part of the World Wide Web and connects to other thinking women world over. As men plan wars and political powers, women are coming back to power and will rule again. And man will return back to his original state to protect the females, to build the shelters, to respect the natural rules of nature as it is. For you see, you have mass noise, males, femnoids, females, and bathanoids, both genders. That is how natural nature balances out in all things, such as blue, Green, yellow. Green is baffling. It has an equal amount of both to become the color green. A flat, A major, A sharp is the complete tone. Cold, warm, hot. That is the natural rule of nature. Feminine, neuter, masculine. This world must know that both masculine and neuter gender grew out of feminine. She as M other holds the key to world peace and divine love. She accepts things for what they are, what they should be, and are used for. That is how the right side of the brain was made to work. The computer was created for women to raise up and change the world as you see. And it is taking place from 2000 AD onward. More and more women are coming to power, wealth, and leadership. Most were the brains behind the men or his secretary, the one who really did all the work. She was all the brains. She was the work in the male's office. She builds, he destroys. The first person to nourish the child is the M other. The first person to teach the child is M other. She is goddess who birthed God. Male from female. Never ever the other way around. Sadly today, many women have given over her natural rule to men. Sadly today, many females have become a sex object for men. Sadly today, many M others have become the house slave of fathers. So we took the computer in her hand, and now she is beginning a new beginning. And in time, the world will once again be a matriarchal one. M other equals motherhood. M equals 1,000% or mega. And those who brought in patriarchal ideas of male dominance, such as God, he, women was made from a male's rib bone. This is what they say, the sons of God. Angels, all are always male, the son of God. Jesus, a male. Even Satan, a male. To them, a male ruler of evil. Yet things that serve male, he will affectionately call a sheep, such as his car, a sheep, his gun, a sheep, his boat, a sheep. This was all in the mind of the Caucasoids in their 6,000-year dominion by their books, Bible and Quran. Before them, it was a matriarchal, not patriarchal as you see today. Males and war and killings and weapons, drugs, beer, alcohol, strip clubs, gangs, all alike. Males and war and killings, weapons, drugs, beer, alcohol, strip clubs, gangs, religions, all of this is from the male mind. It's all in the brain. And those above is found in the part of the brain called the reptilian, a part of the human brain, the beast you allowed in your DNA, by mixing with reptilians who mixed their DNA with Adamites. Now natural nature is at work, healing this planet of unnatural nature. Man made laws of destruction, splitting the atom to explode into bombs, splitting the cells or Adam in exploration into your DNA. Both forms of destruction and must come to an end. Nuwapians, why do you think we call it Mother Nature? She is to mother over us. 1,000% mega deity. So for those who ask, why does not our ancestors help us? We have, and we saw the world wars of males doing this. And so I was born in 1945. And just before my birth, we in spirit or etheric form activated the idea of upgrading an ancient tool, now called to the cell phone, to the iPad, all which uses 0 equals male and 1 equals female. As their blood flows through their cells,
Okay, this one is the divine feminine. The woman is God. The woman created male. 999. This one is the 4 minutes and 44 seconds long.
Men, women are the Nethartet, and they predate male or masculine. Mask your line. Many confuse this mitochondrial DNA with the mitochondrion of each cell, which is the gene that produces nearly all the energy to keep the cell alive, or the powerhouse of the cell. The mitochondrial DNA is actually contained within the mitochondrial of each cell. And as for the X and Y chromosome, scientists now know the male or Y chromosome in the sperm, the semen, has 2.8% less genetic material than the X chromosome in the same sperm specimen. They actually sifted sperm and it produced samples in which 85% of the cells had an X chromosome. In fact, the X chromosome is 5 times larger than the Y chromosome, which means the feminine existed for generations without masculine. Females existed before she created males. To create the Y chromosome out of an X chromosome, you lose one of your stems. The X chromosome becomes Y chromosome. So in fact, Y chromosome is defective. X chromosome, which is why masculine has the same component on his body that the feminine does. For example, the breast and nipples. However, masculine's doesn't work. They cannot breastfeed. Masculine is a genetic defect. Feminine, she is complete, as the number 9 is the highest, or birth in 9 months. Femi, 9. And this is how they prove mother was before father, or female before male. Feminine before masculine. They studied 197 pregnant feminine, or women, and they donated their offspring's placentas. The placenta is the easiest way to get large samples of body tissue. The biologists selected feminine from around the world and of all races. After the babies were born, the placentas were gathered and frozen. These tissues were then ground in a souped-up warring blender, spun in a centrifuge mixed with a cell-breaking detergent. It was dyed with fluorescent and spun in a centrifuge again. The result was a clear liquid containing pure DNA. This was the DNA in the nucleus of the baby cells. The word mitochondria, DNA, is from mitos, means to wrap, thread, and chondrion is diminutive of chondros, meaning grain or granule. The feminine is deity. She grows, each being's masculine in her body, in her womb. So Nuwapians without a masculine, she, feminine, can and did bring forth a child. This all takes place within the Bartholian gland of the feminine, which is located on either side of the vaginal orifice, that secretes a lubricating mucus and are equivalent to the bulbourethral gland. In the masculine, which is located below the prostate, and it discharges a component of seminal fluid into the urethra. The prostate secretes a thin, milky fluid with a characteristic odor. This fluid constitutes the greater part of the semen that is deposited into the feminine's vagina, and that contains the spermatozoa. So in actual fact, a feminine is capable of reproducing seminal fluids on her own internally, without the help of the masculine sperm. Yet not the other way around. The masculine has no womb to carry and execute the process. Grandmother, mother, daughter, sister, wife, and so on are all a sleeping deity who gave up her powers to masculine, who are destroying the world, starting with the destruction of minds. Now masculine, he disrespects, mistreats his own creator, the feminine, and she even abuses herself by becoming a sex object, a worker, not a thinker, a baby maker, a house cleaner, food cooker, slave to her own creation. Check. Check.
So you don't have to be Nubian. Okay. No, I am not Nubian. But that's not the point. Okay. It's the message that is imperative. So stay focused. Okay. And there you have it. It is done. It is done. It is done.